pray we're not too late.
Hey, what's up, fellow gamers? It's BC, it's Alloy7, and this is my video review for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And as you guys know, I like to start these videos off with the bottom line up front, and it goes a little something like this. Some games are just fun as crap. But before we jump into this review headlong, there's two things that you need to know about me. One, I'm at best a casual Call of Duty fan. Therefore, this review is probably not for you hardcore fans who've probably forgotten more about Call of Duty than I will ever know. I've played the Modern Warfare games, but I've only owned Call of Duty 2, the original Modern Warfare, Black Ops 2, and now Advanced Warfare. I am by no means a semi-pro player who can explain why the AK-12 performs better in one game over another. Number two, I've been in real combat and often have trouble suspending my disbelief when I'm thrust into some of the more dramatic Hollywood approaches Call of Duty takes in delivering its tactical situations during campaign play. And in the interest of full disclosure, please also understand that Activision provided me with a review copy of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, to answer the question, is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare worth your time and money? I'll be breaking the Advanced Warfare experience into categories that I believe represent all of our unique playstyle preferences. All right, first up, we have action junkies. Players who enjoy fast-paced, non-stop action should have a ball with Advanced Warfare's campaign and multiplayer modes, and this is aside from some seemingly widely experienced server lag issues that we'll cover in more detail later. The campaign offers the Hollywood roller coaster you're used to riding, but offers enough diversity of play to keep things interesting. I personally had a great time riding hover bikes and taking out guards using drones to support my team's assault on an enemy compound. Sledgehammer did a great job removing the tedium from these segments to keep it fast and fun. Call of Duty's campaign modes usually annoy me after the first few missions, as the ridiculous tactical encounters often place the player in situations that go against conventional wisdom. Example, sending two people to fight off an entire company of soldiers in an attempt to assassinate their leader. However, the future setting and the game's newly introduced exosuit went a long way to help suspend my disbelief by evening a playing field that's always stacked against the player. Advanced Warfare's campaign is not all smiles, though. Many of the missions have the same annoying predetermined path you're supposed to take in order to succeed. And while maps may open up a bit to allow you to maneuver, rest assured that there's still a critical path you're supposed to be on. And if you veer too far off of it, respawning bad guys will always be all too happy to return you to the prescribed course. This is a facet of Call of Duty's combat that I've always hated, and it's exacerbated by the fact that your artificial intelligence-controlled squad mates are about as helpful as taking your pet hamster to the fight. Multiplayer modes keep the action rolling with varying degrees of chaos. You of course have the classic 6-on-6 team deathmatch and kill confirmed battles, but you also have the highly chaotic kill fest that is Domination, and that's basically a virtual killing version of King of the Hill for those of you who are not familiar. What truly sets Advanced Warfare's multiplayer apart from its predecessors is the verticality afforded by the exosuit. This is not what I'll call a superficial verticality, a la riding an elevator to the 90th floor of a building in Battlefield 4. The exosuit adds a layer of speed and diversity to the combat never before seen in Call of Duty. Unfortunately, I can't help but wonder if technological limitations kept the developers from making maps larger and more traversable than they are. The constant out-of-bounds error message that pops up when you attempt to reach certain rooftops really didn't make sense to me. I felt that there was no reason to constrain the player in this fashion when you have games like Battlefield 4 that encourage this type of maneuvering. Next, we have our competitors category. By now, everyone should know that the Call of Duty franchise is really all about the online multiplayer. I'm happy to report that Sledgehammer really did a solid job with not only continuing the legacy, but providing a much-needed evolution of play. The exosuit abilities are by no means revolutionary, but the variety of play the suit affords is an absolute must for an aging franchise on life support. Your ability to traverse the length and width of the maps in seconds and the game's perk system really allows the player to be creative in how they issue out justice on their competitors. Unfortunately for PS4 players, there have been widespread accounts of server lag and spotty hit detection. Rumor has it that Activision did not deliver the promised dedicated servers for PS4 players and instead has gamers going head-to-head on peer-to-peer servers. Whether this is true or not at the time of this recording, I have yet to see. However, I can vouch for several matches where I was killed hiding behind an impenetrable wall on my screen because I was still out in the open on my opponent's screen. I imagine patches and upgrades will be forthcoming to address these issues, but it's frustrating to see games this popular suffer from issues the company clearly has the resources to address. Next, we have our Strategist category. Call of Duty has always been more Chinese checkers than chess. Players who prefer tactical shooters like the Arma or Delta Force series may find Advanced Warfare a bit too arcadey. In multiplayer, the only consistent tactical advantage you have is your ability to memorize maps, learn enemy player tendencies, and keep it moving. Attempting to hold a single piece of terrain will certainly get you killed, as every position on a given map has multiple access and egress routes. For years, this approach was the main reason I didn't enjoy Call of Duty games. However, I've learned to adapt my playstyle to the game's more arcade-centric style. I don't want to imply that Advanced Warfare employs no tactics or that it's just a free-for-all shoot people in the face simulator. You just have to understand that the tactics that work in real life don't apply here. In fact, the tactics that work in real life are exactly what will get you murdered in Call of Duty games. If you can't turn off the conventional tactician portion of your brain, then Advanced Warfare is certainly not for you. Next, we have our Builders category. Players who enjoy leveling and customizing their on-screen personas should find quite a bit to love with Advanced Warfare. Your created operator still levels by gaining experience points in competitive play, and you still unlock various weapons, armor, and accessories by completing goals in battle. What I found really interesting and enjoyable was the fact that you also build your character in the campaign mode. The execution is a bit stifled in that many of the campaign missions don't allow you to use all of your abilities, but it did add a nice touch of progression to what's typically a very linear shooting gallery with dumb AI enemies. Next, we have our Collaborators category. Players who enjoy playing cooperatively with friends will find a functional co-op survival mode. I've always felt that co-op modes felt tacked on in games like these. Advanced Warfare didn't do much to help change that sentiment. What I really want is to tackle the main campaign with a friend, not play a soulless horde mode. Fans of the zombie survival modes in older Call of Duty games will get a brief taste of zombie mode in the main release if they can survive long enough. However, keep in mind this is just a taste. A full zombie survival mode will only be available via downloadable content. Next, we have our audio files and visualists. Advanced Warfare most certainly shows off the capabilities of this current generation's hardware. Textures are sharp and clean, color is plentiful, and the draw distance shows decent improvement over last generation. You should immediately notice that the graphics are a bit more vibrant in single-player mode, and the cutscenes in the game are absolutely excellent. Advanced Warfare's sound is best showcased by the superb voice acting. The entire all-star cast nailed their roles with outstanding delivery. In multiplayer mode, I was also pleased to see that sound was used to play a significant role in determining enemy proximity. Everything from muted gunshots in the distance to footsteps creeping on your six worked perfectly to set the tone for battle. Last, we have our bookworms category. And you may find it strange to hear me give significance to Advanced Warfare's story, but I believe it bears mentioning. Make no mistake, the plot is just as grandiose and ridiculous as it's ever been in any Call of Duty game. However, the writers very smartly chose to focus on the story's characters. Thanks to the excellent voice acting I spoke of earlier, and the writers not trying to make the story into Shakespearean quality prose, you should definitely make an emotional connection with the protagonist from the beginning to end. And thanks to some clever presentation at the game's end, you'll even come to connect with the story's villain. I'd also like to quickly mention that I absolutely love the fact that one of the main characters is a woman with strong character and convictions who's not paraded around as some type of scantily clad sex object on the battlefield. Aside from Troy Baker's rendition of Mitchell and Spacey's role as Irons, Russell Richardson, Gideon Emery, and Angela Gotts really conspire to steal the show as Cormac, Gideon, and Ilona respectively. All right, friends, let's talk about the verdict. Advanced Warfare is not going to change the world of gaming, nor is it going to revolutionize the first-person shooter genre. But I believe Sledgehammer was very smart to enhance the genre's already existing strengths to make a highly enjoyable, if familiar, experience. If you hate the series, I don't believe Advanced Warfare can change your perspective. But if you've enjoyed Call of Duty in the past, you will certainly find enough to love about Advanced Warfare to warrant a purchase. And that's going to do it for me, my friends. I believe I have covered everything. If you have questions, get at me in the comments. If you've played the game and agree or disagree, get at me in the comments. And if this is your first time here, we drop reviews every Monday, so get at us on that subscribe button. Anyway, friends, BC, the Brain Supreme, Alloy 7 Video signing off. Peace and Godspeed.